It's been over 18 months since my last room update or studio tour, and I've completely transformed and rearranged the space. If you want to see what it looked like before, I've linked the previous room tour videos in the description below so you can go back and watch those after. The main reason for the reconfiguration is the same reason I move things around all the time. I'm constantly trying to make more space for the new in-box collection, which is ever growing, and more space, more importantly, for getting some stuff out on display. I want this to be like a shrine or a museum to all things Mega. In the ideal world, I'll have one of every set out on display. I'm very quickly realizing that's going to be very difficult in this space, but that isn't going to stop me from trying. It's going to take a while to get through all this because I've got a lot to say. So get some snacks, find a comfy chair and enjoy the video. Starting in the middle of the room, as you can see, this is where I film most of my reviews that you would have seen, or if I'm filming a custom build. As you can see, it's a real simple setup: 2 lights, tripod, small stool and just a plain white shelf on top of a cube unit. It's very simple, but it does the job. As a background, I've got more of the cube units which I've been slowly filling with sets, and as you can see, it's covered in a dust sheet. The reason being, I always leave it like this because it means I never have to clean anything. I just pull that dust sheet off when I'm filming and then I put it back on afterwards. On the floor in the middle of the room, taking up far too much space, is the big 8-foot by 4-foot board that I use for building large-scale dioramas on. Currently houses the Ultimate AA gun and the Ultimate Pelican. I don't like having these on the floor in the middle of the room, but at the moment I don't have anywhere else to store them. There's no shelves big enough or a space big enough to have them put together out on display. So until I come up with a solution for that, they'll just stay there under the polythene so they don't get all dusty and horrible. Moving over to the small display cubes, it's worth mentioning this is a work in progress. A lot of these sets have actually come to me secondhand. I've cobbled them together. Some of them might be missing stickers or they're peeling, and you may see the odd part missing. But as I say, it's a work in progress. It's just constantly being added to and evolved, and that's part of the fun. So as you can see on these top 3 shelves, we've got Flood Invasion, the Floodgate Firefight set, and then the classic original Floodgate Anniversary. 3 fantastic sets that all look absolutely great on display together. As we move on down, we've got the Hornet versus Covenant Vampire. This is one of the lights and sounds sets. Again, came to me secondhand, but I believe this one is complete with all 6 figures. This is just the terrain piece for the Rhino set. I want to move the Rhino out of these small cubes, but I don't currently have any of the bigger shelves free to be able to put both of those units on one shelf, but that might change in the future. Then we've got 2 Mantis sets. Sometimes I do this if there's enough room in the cube to put more than one set and it has more than one mode. I like to put 2 in there. So as you can see, I've got 1 stood and 1 docked. Then we move on to the Gorshog versus Covenant Locust. Some really old sets here, but classic sets, and I love to see them on display. In the next cube, we've got the Arctic Rocket Hog, the Arctic Wolverine, and the Arctic Combat Unit. All great sets that look really good on display together. As we move over onto the center of the cubes, on the top shelf, we've got the Anniversary Warthog, the giant one. There is a tusk missing off the front of that. I do have it, I just need to put it on. I've also got the stickers for it, but again, just haven't got around to applying those yet. We've then got the Energy Sword build, and then we've got my custom Anniversary Warthog that I put together a couple of years ago. As you can see, it's got the Rocket Hog attachment or the normal chain gun attachment. Then I've got a Needler. I've actually got 2 Needlers out on display. I just thought they looked good because who doesn't like dual wielding Needlers? And then I've got my custom Reach Magnum. I did do a slight kind of build tutorial for this, so if you want to see how that went together, search my channel for that video. The cube next to it I've left free because I do intend to create a CE Magnum as well to go alongside that Reach Magnum. Then I've just got some cubes empty, just waiting for me to stock them. And as we move up onto the other side, we've got the Red Troop Hog. I know I need the small terrain build for this and the figures, but again, it's on the to-do list. Pretty sure I've got them. Then we've got the Infinity Armor Bay. I think that's a great set. I've got a couple of those. I only put 1 on display, but they are really, really fantastic sets. And then we move over and we've got the Repec sets. We've got the Quad Walker, the VTOL and the Siege Bike with all of their figures and an active camo grunt that just doesn't seem to want to stay standing up. Very interesting sets and just a one-off. Be interesting to see if they do anything like that again in the future. Moving down a cube, we've got 2 Covenant Spectres with the figures that they come with. And then as we move alongside there, we've got 3 of the Brute Choppers with all of their accompanying figures. And then in the next cube, we've got the Blue Series Falcon and the Blue Series Rocket Hog, except it's not a Rocket Hog because this one came to me used and it didn't have the Rocket Hog attachment, unfortunately. So I've changed it to just have a chain gun rather than having nothing until I try to get my hands on the Rocket Pod attachment. Below that, we've got 2 of the NMPD sets in the Hornet and the Police Cruiser. Big fan of the NMPD sets. And in the cube next door, we've got the NMPD Troop Hog and my custom Interceptor build, which I created using a couple of the NMPD sets, and I just wanted it on display because I just really like it. Next up, we've got the Lights and Sound Anti-Armor Cobra, and I've put 2 in there again so I can show one of them in the deployed gun mode and the other one in its moving mode or its mobile mode. As we move down from there, we've got some of the anniversary sets that Mega did, which are all pretty fantastic sets. As you can see, we've got here the Aerial Ambush set, which was a remake from the original. And then below that, we've got a couple of the 10-year anniversary heroes, plus the figure pack. And then we've got the Scorpion 20-in-1 build, which is an incredibly rare set. And then we've got the Warthog Run set, definitely one of the best Warthog sets that they've ever produced, and those Hunters, never seen them again since or before. Nice to be able to get some more of those one day in that colour. Moving on, we've got the 20th anniversary pack, which at one time was impossible to get your hands on but still readily available now. Absolutely fantastic pack of figures. And then below that, we've got the Lights and Sound Night Ops Gauze Hog. Again, put a couple in there because just had the space, and why not? You get to see them from the front and the back. And then we've got the original Brute Prowler, 2 of those in there again, and a seriously underrated set in my mind. As we move up, we've got the ODST Hawk set. This is a beautiful set. This colour just completely transforms the Hawk, and I'd love to see Mega produce more sets in that steel blue colour. We've got the Covert Ops Wolverine, and then we've got the Flood Hunters Falcon. Again, that colour, that's why they're in the centre of my display, and you'll see them in a lot of my videos because they just look so good on display. Moving lower down, we've got the original Scorpion. This is one of the first sets that Mega ever created, so had to have a place in one of these cubes. Then we've got the Smuggler Interceptor from the Halo Nightfall series that Agent Locke originally featured in before the release of Halo 5. And then moving on, we've got the Wasp from the Halo 5 Warzone with a couple of absolutely fantastic figures exclusive to that set. Moving up, we've got the Falcon Sweep, bit of a sore subject, but there it is, it's in there. And then we've got the Kodiak Siege Cannon. I don't have the figures for this, so they're on my wish list. I'll keep an eye out for those, and when they do come along, I'll look forward to adding them to the display, because the Kodiak Siege Cannon is one heck of a build. Speaking of one heck of a build, we have the Elephant from Halo Wars. This is also a really, really good build. Comes with some great figures too, not really connected to the set. Great set all the same. Again, very difficult to get hold of. Off to the side of those cube units is the new location for my desk where I edit all of my videos. Off to the side of the desk, I've got a small section of display cases. As you can see, I've got the full line of original drop pods released by Mega Bloks, all of the ODST drop pods, as well as the Covenant drop pods and the one and only Flood drop pod. Almost all complete. I am missing a couple of stands. I just need to put those guys on stands and then they're done, and I am missing a couple of weapons. On the next shelf down, I've got the Halo Hero Series 12 through to 15, just 4 series here. At the moment, I don't have any of the series to hand above that. I have purchased them there with a friend in America who will be due to ship them over to me sometime later this year. On the shelf below, I've got some of the Halo Infinite blind bags and some of the Halo Universe blind bags. Again, this is all I own from this point onwards at the moment. And again, I do have some in America, hopefully due to see those by the end of the year. When I get them, I can add them to this shelf. Moving down, we've got some of the mechs I built. We've got 3 of the Chief versions there. And then on the shelf below, we've got the Wraith mech as well as the Phantom mech. And moving over to the side, we've got the UNSC Firebase. Pretty expensive, difficult to get set these days, and it comes with Linda. Shelf above, we've got 2 more of the mechs, one of them built from the Falcon and one of them built from the Scorpion. And then on the shelf above, we've got the High Ground set. This is just literally sat here for now. As you can see, it doesn't have the gun on the front. It's missing one of the figures and the ghost isn't there. So I need to complete that at some point, but it's just there holding that space. Got an empty shelf above. On the shelf above that, we've got the Chief's wardrobe. This was a custom build I created probably about 2 or so years ago now. It was just a place I wanted to create an armory looking mock like Iron Man has, where he hangs all his suits up when he's not wearing them. Well, I figured I want to do something for Chief as well. So at the moment, it's just holding all of the Halo Infinite Chiefs that I have open and to hand. Next up is the new in-box collection, which is ever evolving. I'm not going to go through every set. I did that not too long back. So if you want to see that, again, search the channel after this video. I have added a number of sets since then, especially the older sets. The older sets tend to be a lot harder to get and they're very expensive. So the collection grows very slowly in that area. The multiples you see of the newer sets is simply a case of if something goes on special on Amazon, I'll buy multiples. So if I want to use them to create some sort of large scale diorama in the future, I have them available. Until that time comes, they'll just sit there in their boxes waiting. There are also a number of sets on these shelves that I haven't actually had a chance to open yet. And that's simply because I'm so time limited with how much that I work. I have to choose how I want to commit my time to the hobby when I do get some time. And for me personally, being somebody that creates custom builds, if I do get a couple of hours that I can spend with the hobby, I find myself wanting to create something custom over just opening a brand new set. They will still get open, but I prefer to save that for when I'm not feeling creative, so I can just open a set, switch my brain off, go through the instructions and enjoy an actual real build. The other reason that I haven't opened some of them is because I don't want to open something that I don't have somewhere to display it. I hate opening things and then just putting them away in a box because I've got nowhere to put it, which is why I've been reconfiguring this studio to create more space to be able to display more of these sets. And one of the other things that I like doing when I do get a bit of time with the hobby is I really like refurbishing old sets. You will have seen many of my hauls that I've picked up. I take immense satisfaction of putting those hauls together and trying to complete as many sets as I can, again, so they can be used for future content or large-scale dioramas. And now on to the main event, the big display shelves. I've had a lot of fun putting this lot together. What I've been trying to do is group sets as they'd be featured in the game that they come from. First cube, we've got Halo 4, Halo 5 sets. I may have a few pieces in the wrong shelf. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. So as you can see, we've got the Signature Series Spirit dropship with Jormadama's ghost just hanging off in between it. That is something that they say you can do in the instructions. We've got a couple of Banshees just hanging up with the catgut. And then we've got the Wraith Ambush set. We've got the Covenant Watchtower. And then we've got the base for the Spirit dropship that you can use as a stand. We've got another Jormadama Ghost, another Wraith Ambush, and then the Scorpion Sting. And then finally, we've got the Ghost of Requiem set. Now, there are duplicates there. That's simply because I had the space. As I run out of space, I can take one of those duplicates away and fill it in with a new set when released, or if I open something else. The next shelf isn't featured around a game, it's featured around all of the Snowbound sets they've released. This is every Snowbound set, to my knowledge, that Mega have released to date. And again, there are duplicates. There's only one of each figure from each set, but as you can see, I've got 2 Snowbound high bases and then all of the vehicles and figures from the Snowbound sets. Obviously, the Phantom isn't a Snowbound set and neither are those Banshees. I just wanted to liven up the display a bit, and what better way to do it than having a load of grunts forming a rope for the Arbiter to climb up. You either know or you don't know. Another thing I've tried to do with this display is I've made it a bit more dynamic. Rather than just have them stood on display, I've tried to create a diorama. As you can see, those 2 members of the blue team have taken the red team's flag and are trying to escape on the Mongoose whilst being chased down by a couple of red team members on a Ghost. The Ghost comes with the white rocket hog. Stickers aren't on it, but I will add them eventually. Another member of blue team on another Mongoose coming in. You got two Banshees. There's nothing in those, but I just thought they livened up the display a little bit. And then as we move across to the other side of the display, as you can see, you've got the Versus Rocket Hog, which was a re-release of that Rocket Hog. You've got another member of red team trying to storm the blue team's base to get that flag, but little do those two blue team members realise there's a red team member in active camo literally just about to take their flag. And then as we come to the front of the base, we've got two more blue team members just giving some support with the actual stationary gun that comes with that Battlescape, which is also a Versus snowbound Battlescape. Really pleased with this setup. I just think it's really fun, and I do love the Versus line that Mega Bloks produced all those years ago. And on the final top shelf, we've got Halo Wars 2 sets. Now, this is not finalised at all. I've just put these things here just to hold the space for Halo Wars 2 sets, or at least I think they're all Halo Wars 2. As you can see, we've got my custom built Banished Phantom, and then we've also got the Goliath from the Forge Hog versus Goliath set. I don't have the Forge Hog there because I used it to build one of those mechs I showed you earlier. So I need to get my hands on another one of those so I can put it on this shelf. You've got the Gummy Atriox there, and then we've got the Banished Ghost Rush, which is missing a gun and the figure. I need to sort that out. And then we've got the Frost Raven versus Decimus set. I do love that set. Great set. Really, really like it. And then finally, we've got the Consano Cyclops Raid. I do have sets I want to add to this. I want to get some stuff hanging. I've also got some more figures to add to this set, so definitely a work in progress. Moving down the shelf, we've got some more up-to-date sets with the Banished Halo Infinite vehicles. As you can see, we've got the Banished Phantom, and then we've got the Hijack Ghost sets, followed by the Defense Point Showdown, one of the first sets we saw for the Halo Infinite game. And then as we move down, we've got the Chopper Takedown. It comes with Spartan Fred. And then in the centre, we've got the Skiff Intercept, the vehicle that we never really saw in the game, apart from a burnt out wreck of one. And then finally, we've got the Banshee set. I am missing a couple of the smaller sets, the figure packs, but I haven't opened any of those yet. So if I do open them at some point, I'll be sure to add them to this display here. Moving across to the center shelf, we've got another work in progress. This is my custom built Ultimate Assault on High Ground build. Now, it was a lot bigger than this when you last saw it in a video. I do have the other sections still, but it was all packed away, covered in polythene like the Ultimate Pelican, and I wanted it to be out on display, so I've broken it down enough to fit it into this shelf. But as you can see, it needs some rebuilding. It needs the base plates putting back on, it needs the roof section rebuilding there to fit into this shelf, it needs the grates being put on the center part, and then it needs the canopy section rebuilt over that left hand side. Once all that's done, I can fill in these sections of wall, put some base plates down there, put some foliage on it, and then get the rest of the Versus sets in there. Like you can see, I've got the Mongoose versus Locust set already there, and then any other Versus sets, I'll add them to it. Obviously, like the figures that come with the original Assault on High Ground, and create another nice diorama like the Versus Snowbound diorama on the shelf above it. And then moving one more shelf over to the left, we've got the UNSC Halo Infinite sets, starting with the Pelican Inbound, probably the best Pelican Mega have produced to date, absolutely stunning. And then we've got the Wasp Onslaught set, we've got two of the Warthog Rally sets, and we've got the Recon Getaway as well, again another one of the first sets that they released. And we've got the figures and the gun for the Wasp Onslaught. We've got the UNSC Platoon pack, which was a fantastic army builder. And then finally, the most recent set, the Scorpion Clash. Another absolute belter coming with those two hunters. And then finally, we've got the figures for Pelican Inbound, which is the Chief and another hunter. If you're wondering where the pilot is, he's in there doing what he's supposed to be doing, piloting the Pelican. And then I've also got the pilot for the Wasp Onslaught doing her job too. And they're both up there having a great time. So that's the UNSC and the Banished Infinite shelves done. Moving down a shelf, we've got more Halo 4 and 5 sets, starting up the top with the Phaeton gunship. I believe this is the only Promethean vehicle Mega have made to date. Not everybody's cup of tea, but I think it's a great build. If you haven't built it before, it's definitely something different. Moving over, we've got the Broadsword Midnight Strike. The figures are down below. We'll see those in a bit. And then we've got the Cauldron Clash, a plate set in the form of a 4-runner structure. I think this is a great set, and I always pick them up if I see them going cheap because they are fantastic for parts, if nothing else. And then we've got the Rapid Assault Covenant Ghost. I've just realised I'm missing the Spartan from that set, so I'll have to have a look. And then we've got the Pelican Gunship, and again, not everybody's cup of tea. This is another fantastic build. I think they did a great job here. I know in-game some people prefer the other style of Pelicans, but I personally think that's a great set and a great build. And then we've got the Warthog Resistance, another great set, one of the best Warthogs they've created to date. And then moving over to the centre, this is a custom build I created. I'm sure anyone that's played Halo 4 will recognise this scene at the end when the Chief's trying to destroy the Didact once and for all, and Cortana comes to his rescue. So relatively pleased with this display, and that's the last of the Halo 4 and 5 sets. Moving on, we've got the first of 2 Reach shelves, and we're starting off with the all-terrain Mongoose that comes with a meal. Probably one of the best or the most favourite Mongoose builds to date. Definitely a well-rounded set, that one. And then we've got the Drone Outbreak, which comes with the green truck and the partially ruined building at the back, and the 2 drones and obviously the 2 Spartans. Definitely one of my favourites. Absolutely love this set. Had a number of them come to me in hauls over the years, and that's why I've got a few of them on display there. And then we've got the UNSC Falcon with landing pad, the original green Falcon, not the Falcon Sweep. And then we've got the Shade turret that comes with 1 Grunt and 1 Spartan. I've got a couple of those out on display because they've come with just about every haul I've ever received. And then we've got the Revenant Attack. This doesn't come with the 2 blue Spartans. It comes with 1, but you've got an alternative armor setup which you can use. So I've got them both on display. And then we've got Noble 6, just being Noble 6 for, you know, because. Moving up to the upper shelf, we've got the Rocket Hog versus AA gun. I absolutely love this set too. It was a long time before I saw one of these in a haul, and then since then I've collected a few of them. Some of them complete, some of them not complete. As you can see, it comes with the main AA gun, the Rocket Hog, and 4 figures. I've also converted some of the other Rocket Hogs into different variants of the Halo Reach Warthog. You've got the standard chain gun variant, and then I've also created a Troop Hog variant. I am missing a few stickers to complete those completely, but I'll keep hunting for those stickers as I may have them somewhere around. And then I've got the second AA gun out on display there just because they look so great, and then a second Falcon as well because I wanted one up in the air in flight mode. So that's the first shelf of the Halo Reach sets. Moving on to the second shelf, we start with the Orbital Banshee Blitz Banshee and the pilot figure. Again, this comes with an alternative build for the figure, so you'll see that later on. And then we move on to the Seraph, and once again, it doesn't come with the 2 gold elites. You can convert one to the other, so I've got them both on display as I had duplicates of the set. The Seraph, definitely an underrated set in my opinion. I think it's a really good build and looks pretty much like it should do. Then moving into the centre, we've got the EVA's Last Stand, and I know this is a set that not everybody likes. I've always liked this set. I know it doesn't come with the full Warthog. I just love the concept behind this set and think it looks great on display. And then we've got the Spade set. I need to put a different variant of that Spartan on there because I believe there's a second variant for him too. And then we've got the gun that comes with the Banshee Blitz set. And then we move on to the Countdown set that comes with the Saber. This is an absolutely huge set and one I'm really happy to have. Don't currently have the stickers on this set at all. I do have them. I just need to get round to applying them. That Silver Elite is the option for the Banshee Blitz set. And then there's also 2 brown Spartans with that Countdown set as well. It only comes with 1, but again, there is a variant. So 2 relatively packed shelves with Halo Reach sets. Moving down to the first of the bottom shelves, we've got the original Halo War sets from back in 2009-2010. As you can see, we've got the Troop Hog that comes with all of the figures. I think that came with 8 or 9 figures. We've got the Gremlin. And then we've got the original green Wolverine, just missing a few of those rocket projectiles. I'm sure I've got them somewhere, I just need to hook them out. And then we've got the original Warthog, which came with that Covenant gun as well. And then moving into the center, we've got the original Wraith that they produced, which to this day I still think stands up pretty well. Again, missing a few stickers, I need to apply those. Comes with those two figures, the white Elite and the orange Hayabusa Spartan. And then we've got the original Pelican with all those yellow Spartans and the original green Mongoose, which also comes with that Covenant gun. And then moving over to the back, we've got the original aerial ambush set with the very first, I think it's either the first or second Banshee that they created. Comes with a Banshee, an AA gun, and of course the Sparrowhawk, which again, for a really old build, looks really fantastic for its time. It's aged so well, that build. Bit loose, flops around a bit, but if you've just got it on display, it looks pretty cool, as do the rest of those sets. Moving one shelf over to the left, we've got my custom glassing New Mombasa display. It's not quite as it was when I originally filmed it. As you can see, the stands are a bit not quite right at the moment. They're just there as temporary stands holding it. This is something I created the ship first, the Shadow of Intent. I know it's the wrong color. They didn't have all those parts in the right color, so it had to be these colors. And then I created that micro cityscape off that Battlescape plate below it. I've always kept this because I've always liked it, and eventually I may expand it slightly, but I've always found it just looks really, really nice on display, so I've been reluctant to take it apart, and I can't see it going anywhere in the near future, which is why it gets its very own shelf. And then moving on to the final shelf, we have some Halo 3 sets. We've got the Hornet Recon set, which was recently released. Absolute belter of a set. Those figures are fantastic. And then we've got the second generation Wraith that they released, which again, in my opinion, for its age, holds up really well. What a fantastic set. We've got the two versions of the Spartan that come with it. You only get one, but you can armor swap them out to have either option. And then we've got the Hornet Blitz, which was a bit of an underwhelming set, but it still deserves a place on the display all the same. And then we've got the ODST Hive Exterminator set, another fantastic set with absolutely awesome figures. In fact, that's generally the trend for this shelf. Moving on to the Elephant, as you can see, more incredible figures. And the Elephant itself, what an incredible build. This, in my mind, is Signature Series level build. It's got the parts count. Definitely as impressive on the shelf as any other Signature Series build that I have in my collection. It just doesn't have the badge. So that's Halo 3, definitely a work in progress. And that's the last of the display shelves. Now time to move on to the storage tubs. In these tubs is where I keep all the duplicates of the sets I've already shown you. I've been collecting eBay hauls for years, primarily to use as parts. For the longest of times, I didn't actually care that much about the sets, so I just used to strip them down, get the parts so I can build big stuff, which you guys like to see. After a while, I became more nostalgic and wanted to actually display a lot of these old sets. And so I went through the collection and tried to build as many as I could. And this is what I ended up with. I decided to keep it like this, so if I want to create large-scale dioramas with more than one of each vehicle, I've got them to hand ready to go. What I found frustrating was if I wanted a vehicle to appear in one of my videos and I thought, oh, I've probably collected 6 or 7 of those, I found that I'd used one particular part from every one of them, which stopped me from completing even one of those vehicles because it was buried inside an ultimate build somewhere, which is why I've decided to go down this road instead now. I just find it's going to give me more options in the future with creating content. It's also worth noting that as nice as this looks, as we sift through these tubs, seeing all of these nice classic sets just sat there, they didn't come to me like this. Everything in these tubs and most of what you've seen on the main display shelves have come to me secondhand through hauls. Many of them from a long time ago, back when they were readily available. I'm talking 7 or 8 years ago, and you could get this stuff so easy for peanuts. It comes to you really dusty, really horrible. If you've seen my haul videos, you'll know it's pretty disgusting. It's a huge job to actually get it to this point. They all have to be stripped. They have to be cleaned, as in through the washing machine, just to get all of the bacteria and everything off them. And then once you've done that, you've got the painstaking operation of sifting through tens upon tens of thousands of bricks, trying to figure out what sets you might or might not have, and then getting the instructions online and building them as far as you can, because of course the only guarantee with hauls is usually they won't be complete sets. There will be missing figures, there'll be missing parts, often key parts, and that's why I'd build as far as I could with an individual haul, And then when I couldn't build anymore, I'd put it to the side, wait for the next haul, wash that, sort that, and then you go back to try and complete the vehicles that were incompleted from the previous haul. And eventually, when you've collected 10, 11, 12, 13 plus hauls, you start to have this real big collection of completed vehicles that otherwise would be incomplete forever. And that's how I've ended up with so much stuff. I also use these organizers to keep all my weapons nice and tidy, so I know where they are. It's really easy to find a weapon when I need it. I've got one for the UNSC weapons and one for the Covenant weapons. I've also got a small bag for Promethean weapons. And then I've got this tower of drawers where I keep all of my figures. I've got one drawer for UNSC figures, one for Covenant figures and Banished figures. And then I've got a drawer for Promethean and Flood figures. And then a final drawer for drop pods. And that's just about it for my built Halo collection. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did make it this far into the video, I just want to thank you. This was a long video, over 30 minutes. The average attention span of modern human beings is about 30 seconds, so asking people to watch for 30 minutes is a very tall order, but I know there's some of you out there that actually enjoy long form content, so I made this for you. So if you did enjoy it, be sure to let me know in the comments that you watched the entire video, and that way I'll have a good idea of who the hardcore collectors are and who I'm putting these videos together for. And on that note, thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.